By the way, I notice we do have a little video here from our super producer, Efren Monsanto. He's been working so hard. Special shout out to Efren because he's even been working on weekends, and you've never seen a guy work like this. I mean, folks, Efren Monsanto makes the Energizer Bunny look like a slug.
Non-stop.
Okay?
Non-stop. And he's always given her, and he always talks like he's speeded up to 1.5. Like if you're watching a video and you speed it up to get through it, that's how Efron talks because he doesn't have a low gear. Like he's always in Jackrabbit. He's never in Turtle. And he works night and day after he does all the things that he does at the company. Then he goes and does journalism because there's so many things happening in and around Toronto these days with these pro-Hamas protests. He went yesterday and covered pro-Palestinian protesters. Don't worry, they didn't honk, so they won't get their bank accounts.
Are you sure about that?
Yeah. Okay. Miss Bank Account Caesar herself, by the way, pro-Hamas protesters shut down Chrystia Freeland's offices, chanting for a ceasefire, while, as David rightly points out, there are still hostages being held. And they were blocking Efron from trying to film them. I guess when you're doing something illegal, you don't want somebody recording the video evidence of it. And the most atrocious thing, I think, is probably, well, besides the fact that who's being charged with mischief over this? They did more damage here than the entire convoy in Ottawa did. But there was a Jewish community center right across the street. So let's show this January 6th style insurrection of Chrystia Freeland's office.
Free Palestine! Free, free, free Palestine! Viva, viva Palestina! Viva, viva Palestina! Viva, viva Intifada! Viva, viva Intifada! Viva, viva Palestina! Viva, viva Palestina! Viva, viva Intifada! Viva, viva Intifada! Free, free Palestine! Free, free Palestine! No justice! No peace! No justice! No peace! No justice! No peace! No justice! No peace! Free, free Palestine! Free, free Palestine! Free, 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 free.
Just mindless chanting. Just mindless. From the river to the sea. Did you see that?
Oh, yeah, which sounds like a catchy slogan, which it is, but the perverse subtext, folks, is that's code for wiping Israel off the map. They're talking about the Jordan River, the Mediterranean Ocean. Geez, what landmass is in between there? Oh, yeah, it's this little state called Israel. But at least, Sheila, we have to give them props. They didn't quite go all Sydney, Australia during this demonstration and chant gas the Jews. I don't think there's any nuance there, is there?
Well, they're leaving their options open. That's what they're doing because they're saying from the river to the sea, Palestine will be free. What they mean is free of Jews. But they're not saying how they're going to do it. So maybe they'll gas them. Maybe they'll just shoot them, burn them alive, behead them, take them as sex slaves. All the things that may happen to the Jews. But they just don't want to pin themselves down on any one tactic, I think.
So, riddle me this. Did Fraulein Freeland come out to greet this beautiful sample of diversity the other day?
If I know the Liberals, they probably wanted to trot these people out and give them a round of applause like they did to that other Nazi.
Yeah. And on the flip side, any talk about freezing their bank accounts, arresting them, putting them in solitary a la Tamara Leach, any of that? Or am I failing to see the nuance here, Sheila, why this is okay, but the Patriots in Ottawa from 2 years ago, that was somehow offside?
I want to know why they are not applying the bank account seizing part of this to these people, because the provisions in the Emergencies Act that allow for financial institutions to seize or freeze your bank account and your assets is that they are trying to stop the funnel of money to terrorism. So what they're trying to, it's basically the terrorism financier provision of this, so that you cannot raise money for terrorists. But these people are providing at least moral support and maybe even financial support to a known terrorist organization named Hamas. Like a named terrorist organization, not like with the liberals' definition of terrorism, which means horn honking and street parties and opposing Justin Trudeau, but actual terrorism. And nobody seems to care. Like I'm sure you could organize money for these pro-Hamas protests on GoFundMe and nobody would bat an eye.
You're so right, Sheila. One of the dumbest MPs in the blackface cabinet, and I'm even including Seamus O'Regan in that motley crew, is Yara Sachs of York Centre. And she infamously stated during the trucker convoy that honking twice is an acronym. Her words, Sheila. I mean, this woman doesn't even know what an acronym means, but nevertheless, what she was trying to say, folks, is that honk honk is sonic code for Heil Hitler. And maybe at this particular pro-Hamas demonstration, we didn't hear any horn honking, but I can tell you at others I've covered, and when Efren goes out to the Gaza Plaza, it's honk honk galore. There's a whole lot of Heil Hitlering. Where is Yara Sachs? And you know what's even more disgusting is the fact that Yara Sachs happens to be of the Jewish faith, and you have people calling for the extermination of Jews, and that is not motivation for this grotesque MP to get off her hiney and denounce this. Unbelievable, Sheila.
I think this is one of my big fears about the overuse of the word Nazi. It's coming to fruition, right? Yeah. So when you throw around the word Nazi, as the left tends to do, to mean anybody to the right of Mao and anybody with whom you disagree, you take the sting out of the word. And by taking the sting out of the word, you also take the sting out of the definition. And that was something that really struck me when Efron and I went to Auschwitz together. When we were in Poland covering the climate change conference. We had half a day, and I thought, we're like a train ride away. We must go. And when I was there, I was like, the misery and the agony and the human suffering and the evil is still thick in the air like fog. You can just feel it. It's like you can breathe it in. And I was really struck with how heinous it is for people to throw around the word Nazi willy-nilly like that, because it is a knife. That word is a knife that must always remain sharp. And the more you use it on things that aren't Nazis, the duller it gets, until you really don't know when to use it, even when it's appropriate. And that's what we're seeing here. These people are calling for the extermination of Jews. They are running pogroms in Russia right now, protesting Jewish community centers. These are the actions of a Nazi mob. But when you've used that word to mean just regular old conservatives, how do you use it now?
No. Yep. They have debased the language, Sheila. And, when they use words too, like genocide and apartheid, none of which is happening in Israel. If your movement is based on a lie, if your protest or demonstration is based on a lie, what's really going on here, given that Israel is neither an apartheid or a genocidal state? Well, to me, Sheila, it's none other than good old-fashioned anti-Semitism. That's what we're seeing here. And
age-old.
It's unbelievable.
Age-old.
Hey, I got to tell you, I'm going on a cruise with a whole bunch of rebels. We're sailing out of Fort Lauderdale on March 23rd, 2024. That's not so far away, less than 6 months away. A gorgeous trip around the Caribbean. Holland America Line, boy, is that luxurious. And we're going to bring some of our favorite rebel talent. Sheila Gunn Reid, David Menzies, and can you believe it? We're actually bringing Tamara Leach with us, and you are invited. That's rebelnewscruise.com.